You paid for this lead. You paid for this Google listing. I'm going to be listed on Google and be high. I've already invested all my reviews. All of that's lost. Or if it was a pay-per-click, whatever you paid to get this phone to ring, if it came from a lead source, gone, just completely gone.
Hello, and welcome to the $1 Million Electrician Podcast, where we help home service pros like you supercharge your business and spark up those sales.
I'm Joseph Lucani, and together with my co-host, Clay Newmeyer, we're here to share the secrets that have helped electricians sell over $1 million from a single service van.
Now, it's time for sales. It's time for scale. It's time to become $1 million electrician. Hey, you guys, welcome back to the $1 Million Electrician Podcast. With me, as always, Joseph, the sales bot Lucani. And we are wasting no time today. We've got value-packed episode. Not enough time to fully cover this, so we're going to pack it all in, Joe. Today we're talking about the 6 service call stalls. Now, this is a very important episode. If you guys haven't heard this before, you're going to want to stay tuned in, because we're going to go through all 6 on this list, and they go in order, front to back, from the moment a lead actually discovers you, reaches out, or you reach out to them, all the way to the back where we're trying to earn that review, that referral, that repeat customer. And from front to back, it gets more expensive as you go. So if you're missing this, it could be worth $1,000 today. It could be worth $10,000 today for some of you, or tens of thousands of dollars in this week. And heck, even millions, I would suggest, Joe, over the period of the next few years of your business to some of you guys. So we want to help you with this. And I'm so excited to start with this first one, Joe. Why don't you get us started off with the failure to answer the call? Number 1, this is massive and it seems so obvious, but why do we miss this call? What's going on here?
So this literally happened to me the other day. So I'm pursuing a new coach for something. I'm looking for a boxing coach, and I found one in my town. Good reviews, all this stuff. I'm like, great, I'm going to give this guy a call. I call, goes to voicemail. I call again, goes to voicemail. Call again, no answer. It just rings and rings and rings. And I literally took and said, even though he's got good reviews, even though he's closer, X. Because if he can't answer the phone, what kind of establishment are they literally going to have? It gives the customer a bad view. So you paid for this lead. Whatever this was, you paid for this Google listing that this guy went to and said, I'm going to be listed on Google and be high. I've already invested all my reviews. All of that's lost. Or if it was a pay-per-click, whatever you paid to get this phone to ring, if it came from a lead source, gone, just completely gone at this point.
And let me pause you there for a second. Just say, like, most guys have no idea what the cost of their leads are. And maybe their marketing company told them, oh, for LSA, you're paying $45 per caller. And that's great, but that's a shallow look at what a lead costs you, right? What about the investment in the marketing company itself? Even if you're doing it yourself, what about your time invested into that marketing channel? What is your time worth? Most guys can't answer that either. Not to pick on you guys, but just to help you with an idea of, like, what's a lead actually costing you? Think hundreds, not tens, at least hundreds. In most cases, a lead, by the time they talk to your office and everything you've set up, your systems, your CRM, the software, the phone lines, the actual paying for the channel and the lead itself, a lot of times you could justify $500 to $1,000 per call. And then if you don't pick up the phone, once again, which most are missing at some point, like even after hours. What about the 5 to 7 trap, where everyone in your area closes at 5 and, you know, guy might try to call and no one answers. It goes to a voicemail. I heard a study, Joe, 75%, it's right in there. You guys could fact check this, but 75% of the first answer gets the job. Have you heard that before?
I haven't, but experience tells me that it's very likely, because if I have a need of a service and I've already looked at a couple of people, I'm like, all right, I've got this guy, I got this guy, I got this guy. If I call the first person and he meets the requirements that I'm looking for, and they can give me some sort of greeting that establishes that I can trust them, I'm not going to need to keep going, because I'm not the guy who's going to shop everything out. I'm like, this is what I'm looking for. They seem like they can provide it. It's their job to lose now. If they disappoint me, I got 3 other guys I can work with. But let's start with you first.
Absolutely. So, number 1, guys, answer the damn phone. No matter how obvious that is, find a way to get to 100% answer rate. Worth it. Second service call stall. Failure to book that call. Joe, can I tell you about a recent situation? Because this comes up in night school.
Sure, by all means.
If you guys don't know this already, we created this thing called night school, which teaches what trade school forgot. The business side, the other apprenticeship. If you haven't caught on to this already, it might be worth thinking about for a moment, because business is its own trade. We're all electricians here for sure. And that took a lot of investment to learn it. But business is a total different trade, and we deserve to have a theory side of that too. So night school helps with that. And one of the most common problems that comes up in night school very early on is guys say, well, what do you do with these people that are just price shopping on the phone? You knew I was going to say this, didn't you, Joe?
It's hilarious. But yeah, you're right. It's the first thing that people will say. It's, why am I going to even want to go out there? Why can't I give them a number over the phone? Why do I have to physically go there? They're just going to shop me out. Why am I wasting my time? And I thunk my head every time thinking about it, because how are you standing out from anyone else? Where's the value in your offer? How are you serving the customer in a way that goes, hey, this guy's different. Maybe I should listen to him.
You know what? Let me add to that. How could I hand off my phones to someone who's not an electrician? Then how could they handle the technical talk on the phone?
That's phenomenal. I actually would love if they were an electrician. And we tell our CSRs this all the time. They're like, but I'm not an electrician. How am I going to answer these facts? You don't have to. And you have a built-in excuse. I would absolutely love to answer that question for you. The thing is I myself am not an electrician. And the last thing I want to do is give you advice that's not credible. What I can do is send a professional service specialist to your home who can solve those problems and give you a menu of easy to understand ways you can help this. When's the best time to come and serve you? Autopilot.
Love it. A lot of times guys will be out there and say like, oh, they're all bad leads. They're all bad leads, or our lead quality sucks. First step was answer the damn phone. Now we've got a lead on the phone. Second step is book the call. There's some really easy ways to overcome the price objection, or the price digging rather, on the phone. One of my favorites, Joe, is just to follow our process. In fact, if you guys are listening to this, we're going to make sure we give away the Brighter Day call process. All you got to do is open the description if you're on YouTube, and it's going to be linked right in there. I think on the podcast, we can do the same. But I want you guys to get this, and I want you to follow the process. Because a lot of times people might just start early in the call and just say, well, how much is it for you to come and add a circuit in my bedroom? Right? Yeah. But a lot of times that's completely overcome by just saying, hey, perfect. You've made the right call. That's our specialty. Let me just get your name again and your address and make sure you're even in an area that we serve. And by the time you get all those commitments of their information, they're able to let go of the price and just actually agree to have someone come to the house. What are your thoughts on that, Joe?
I love it. It's actually, the word for it is the 3 keys to the castle. Because if you can get someone and actually deflects the conversation and they start investing information in you, it actually does enact the sunk cost fallacy, where someone's like, well, I'm already here. I've already given you this stuff. Now let me at least give you a little more information. Let's talk. So I get the name and the full name. I often even will tease like, oh, before I look you up, are you currently a first class member? Then I'm like, hey, the last thing I want to do is disrespect your time and have this call dropped off and not be able to reach back to you. Is this the right number? I already have caller ID, but is this the right number to get back to you? And again, I don't want to waste your time. I got to make sure you're even in our area. So where would we be going in order to help you with this? And now I've got their name, their number, their address. Great, phenomenal, lead book. Let's go.
And I know there's a lot of guys listening to this that again are thinking, well, this is kind of obvious. And obviously we're going to do our best on the phone. But guys, I'm telling you, if you pay attention to your phones, if you pay attention to your office, it will grow too. You can always improve. Service Titan did a study, which of course is biased to bigger companies. They didn't say the average company's size, but you could imagine Service Titan users are 3 to 5 million at least on average. Now, out of those averages, they found that there's a 35% from the article I read, 35% booking rate overall from actual calls in to actual calls booked, assuming that data is correct. But what was more interesting is they said for every 5% that we increased, that booking rate was worth on average $100,000 in revenue to these companies. Now that, when I saw that, I was like, wow. I know there's some pieces missing, but to think 5% increase in booking rate, right? That means 5 more per 100 actually just book an appointment with us. It's so hard to believe that that could be worth maybe $100,000 in revenue for us. Big breakthrough, something to really consider, guys. And Joe, what would you say then, just quick? Let's say the 3 keys to the castle don't quite get us there and there's still someone hooked on, I just want to quote, it's that kind of attitude. What do you start to lean into to get this call booked and have a chance at this lead?
So the thing I would want to do, and actually a couple different directions, it would either be, we would start by wanting to help them, like I did previously, and saying, I'm not the electrician. And let's say, well, can you talk to an electrician, right? I'd be like, well, this is what I can do for you. Are you looking for a high price or are you looking for a low price? Now, naturally, someone's going to say, I'm looking for a low price. Phenomenal. The thing is I'm going to give you a low price in the lowest possible scenario we've seen, but I want you to know it's very unlikely going to meet your needs because I don't know what we're dealing with when we come to your home. So it's likely just going to get our foot in the door and you're going to be pissed when you give you the real number. On the other side, if you're looking for a high number, we can do that. That actually would be preferred because then we can cover our butt. That way we can show up and say, well, whatever it is, I know it's not going to be more than this. But at the same time, I'm going to give you that number, and you're also not going to let me come because it's not going to apply to your situation, but it's going to scare you off. That's why what we do is focus so much on giving you the right number. We properly evaluate it. We design a range of choices that you're in full control of the budget, the level of quality, and the service you're investing. All we ask is the time to actually serve you in that way. When's the best time we come and help you with this?
Yeah, I love that. And I always say to guys too, don't be afraid to tell them that what we do also is lock in that price, and we never move no matter what we find behind the walls. So you're always sure on what you're going to be spending with us. So important. Guys, I hope that helps. So that's number 2, failure to book the call. Book more calls, it's going to equal more revenue, right? Failure number 3, failure to hold the appointment. This one gets interesting, and there's actually an Uber study I want to tie in that was really, really cool. They talked about idleness aversion. Now, that might be a little complex, so let me break down what this means. It means that humans are naturally pretty paranoid. And so in the absence of communication, in the absence of confirmation, we assume the worst. Have you ever heard this before, Joe?
I've lived it. It's like literally you have someone and say, he's going to be at your house at this time. And it's getting minutes and minutes and minutes. And I'm always like, oh God, this guy's going to make me late. He's just 2 minutes down the road. But I'm thinking he hasn't even left this house yet.
Holding the appointment's just as important. If you ever suffered from cancellations, either pre-sale or post-sale, there's some important steps throughout our process that help guys do this. You need to be communicating with your customer, especially in, we talk about, if you've followed us for any length of time, you've heard us talk about demand calls and opportunity calls. Well, slightly different natures, but a demand call has that element of time being really a priority. Something interrupted your potential customer's day. They've got a problem, and physically they want that problem solved in as physical least amount of time as possible. So if your system's not set up right to hold that appointment, such as we recommend having like a diagnostic fee, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say the word fee, but it would be a diagnostic service.
Thank you, right? To hold that in. So they're committed to, so that even if they have to wait a couple days to get there, that they're assured that you can solve this problem. That's really important. Opportunity calls tend to be more driven by a bit of a different driving force. It doesn't mean they won't spend. It doesn't mean these are bad customers. It means they deserve their different approach. Joe, go ahead, brother.
There's actually another fact as well. And we've found that 2 weeks is the dead drop time, where if someone actually is booked further out than 2 weeks, the chance of them canceling, it goes substantially higher. So if you think about it, the additional communication leading up to that time reduces the chance that they're going to cancel. So we know we don't want to go further than this, but the less communication happens within that time, that risk goes up.
Yeah, some really crafty ways, and you'll hear this from some of the big players. Like, I don't listen to Tommy Mello too much, but one of the last podcasts I did clock in with him, he was actually talking about even sending videos. And I know this is advanced level stuff, but they'll send videos while people wait to introduce the tech and the team that they're waiting for. So you already know who's coming to the house. And what does that really tell the client? It tells them that, oh, this is someone I can trust and they've got my back here. I'm handled. Any absence of that, the opposite of that is, do they have me? This is still important. It keeps coming up for me. I want this done, but I don't know. I haven't heard from them. Maybe I call someone else. And it seems so irrational to call someone else at that time. But there's like a feelings hurt button in there that's like, well, they can't want my business that bad. Do you know that button I'm talking about, Joe?
Exactly. It's where we want to have the customer feel good, but unfortunately in these moments, they feel untouched in a way. And because of that, it actually can get buyer's remorse before they even purchase anything. Did I really go with the right company? Are these really the right people to go with? Maybe I should actually get a couple other calls just in case. And then the only thing is, they were worried because you didn't send them a message the day after. That's really all it was.
Yeah. So number 3, guys, failure to hold the appointment. Really good way to help you with this is just communicate more between the time you book it and the time that you're going to actually go. Heck, even the same day, right? Like to reach out in the morning to let them know, hey, we're going to be here within a couple hours. Looking forward to meeting you again. This is so-and-so. Hey, you guys, if this episode sparked something for you, imagine stacking that every single week. That's how businesses stop flickering and start running steady. If you subscribe to the show or leave a review if you're on audio, and if you're driving down the road, please pull over when it's safe because I've got something you're not going to want to skip. For every person that subscribes and or leaves a review and fills out the form below, letting us know that you did that thing, we're going to draw 1 monthly subscriber for our open circuit lifetime membership worth $1,500. And that's not all. Every 6 months, we're actually going to draw another subscriber for our $5,000 scholarship, which you can use for any of our electric service packages to get your business and your service rocking better than ever. Come on, guys, let's brighten this thing up. Is it going to be you? Back to the show. Number 4, finally, we're going to an appointment. Joe, I have a feeling this might be your favorite. Well, these last 3 might be your favorites, but number 4 is failure to focus.
Yep.
Here's why I wrote it this way and what I mean by that. Failure to focus on the right things at the right time with the right people. When you're there, are you focused on just trying to make a sale? Are you focused on troubleshooting on the way to the call? Are you focused on these things? Because those are the wrong things. Those are very selfish things. And they only make you more of an authority. Walk in, oh, I know what's happening here. I could solve this in short time. And you just look like a big dick instead of someone who actually reaches in to understand their customer. And so I use the word focus for this one because here's how I picture it. A process done right is done right through muscle memory. And your entire attention and intention is focused on your customer and their needs at that time. What are your thoughts on this, Joe?
So you're completely correct. And the cool thing is we literally just did a masterclass on this exact topic, where someone would come in and get the call saying, hey, I have one outlet I need you to change. It's feeling a little loose. The technician diagnoses it on the way there. They're already thinking they wasted their time because they don't think someone's going to want to buy. They don't follow the process as accurately as they should because the process isn't as followed. The customer doesn't see the same value. When they don't see the same value, they don't purchase at your premium ticket. And you come back to a self-fulfilling prophecy saying, I knew they weren't going to buy. This was a waste of my time. So are we focusing on the right thing, or are we just stuck in our own heads thinking this call won't go right before we even get there?
And I think there's an argument against the old inspection sheets. And there was a time where I was a believer in these, but the more and more I've hung out with you and seen this work without it, Joe, just being fully transparent and honest here, the more I've realized that anytime I was using an inspection sheet, I was looking down instead of looking at my customer.
Bingo.
That might be the biggest hole that I've learned over these years is you need to look at your customer a little bit more and look at your job a little bit less, especially in these initial consultation appointments. That check sheet, it's a crutch for something that you should just have in your muscle memory. These are things that you should just know to look for. You're a trained electrician. Please spend less time on the page and more time with your customer. That would be my overall message. Anything you want to add to that, Joe?
Yeah, I was going to say, now, as the individual that I am, it's less about the verbal and it's more about the nonverbal cues that they're going to get. So if you're looking down at your cheat sheet and they look at you and they're rolling their eyes, you're not going to pick that up. Or if they start shifting side to side, showing they're uncomfortable, or if you notice they start clenching their hands, or they start, there's a lot of things that will give away their feeling. And if you can't recognize what they're feeling in a moment, you can't course correct. You may have made a mistake with the wrong word, and now the call is starting to unravel while you're going, oh, it's a tanning smoke detector. We're going to change that thing.
That's awesome. You just reminded me of something. I don't know why this is tying in, but right now I'm going to pause us at 4 for a moment. We got 5 and 6, and they're even bigger and badder and much more important as we go through this, but I want to do a win of the week.
Let's do it.
Yesterday, it was confirmed that one of our current night school clients, Matt and his wife, Randy, working together, Eastern Canada, great couple, awesome people. And what happened is they got a call and they followed the play loosely, right? And they learned about if there was any other electrician ever. And there was another electrician. And in fact, that electrician told the homeowner to look it up on YouTube and to essentially fix it themselves. Okay, here's why this is win of the week, though. If you can believe this, I know this is comical, right?
Yep.
He jumps in the WhatsApp group yesterday and he's like, well, $12K gold sale. And we're like, yes. Yeah, this is awesome. What was the job about? What was it like? He's like, oh, it's the YouTube one I told you guys about in class. So one electrician, literally, I know a lot of you guys rolling your eyes, listen to this going, that ain't me for sure. But you got to know this happens even in moments of weakness. We might just have enough, endurance runs out. We have just like our plate's full. We're not into it. Schedule's tight. We're just like, whatever, go do this, call this other person. Just so you're aware though, just so we're all on the same page, there's almost always more meat on the bone. And these last 2 are going to tie perfectly into that. But Joe, what do you think of that win of the week? $12K gold from a YouTube referral.
First off, that's phenomenal. Like, I absolutely love that. And as you're saying it, and you're like, no one would ever tell a client to go to YouTube. I actually just experienced this, I think 1 or 2 months ago, where I had an issue with my water filtration system. And as usual, I can't seem to find good service. I go in there and I'm working with it. And the guy's like, well, here's the thing. I don't have the part with me, but if you want, here's a picture of the part number. You can order this part number. And when you get it, you could either do it yourself by unscrewing this and putting it in, or if you'd like, you can give me a call. There'll be a separate dispatch fee for me to come out. But like, it shouldn't be that hard. I don't have it with me. So here's the diagnostic charge for today. But yeah, if you want us to come back, let us know.
It's like so confused by that.
Yeah. I literally sat there. I'm like, I want to coach you.
Here's all the parts. This used to be a calculator. Good luck.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild. And it was like, you know what? I invested in this water softening system and water filtration for a damn good reason. I want it maintained. I paid you to come up. And you're going to tell me to go do it myself? No, not going to fly.
This is so right in line with all the times that customers tell us, well, we only want this. We're providing parts for this. And so don't even estimate that. Then we have someone like Nathan Miles come on in his podcast right after a call like that, sell a platinum from it, deep dive. And I'm like, why do you think that happened? Why do you think they say one thing and then at the end, they choose much more than that? Mm-hmm. Just to recap that, Joe, what are your thoughts on this phenomenon that happens?
It's along the lines of you don't know what you want until you know what's on the menu. Like I've sat down at a restaurant before and been like, I go in and saying, I want this. But really when I look at it, I'm like, actually, that sounds really nice. How you translate it into electrical service is I remember going to a call where the homeowner said, hey, I'm going to run all the home runs. I'm going to have all these things. All you got to do is tie it in the panel and sign off for your license. But when I presented the solution, the full rewire package, it was to him and his wife slaps him. And I was like, hey, when are you going to have the time to do this? My in-laws are moving in 2 months and you haven't even got the framing up. And he's like, actually, yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that. Okay, you can do the whole thing. And it being like a $17,000 job. So it really does happen because people don't consider all the things that go into getting it done.
Yeah, I love Nathan's approach on that one too. I believe he's generally just said like, hey, that's awesome that you know what you want. Just so you know how we work, I literally have to make a list of solutions so you can see the best we could offer, the lowest, you have complete control, but I'll make sure one of those options is exactly what you're asking for. So this is easy at the end, right? Just that idea of you make less work for me, that's awesome, but I still have to follow this, unfortunately. Love the concept. Do you think that your server at a restaurant has something to do with how much you choose on that menu?
Oh my God, yes. And it actually comes down to 2 words. Great choice. So if you're going down and someone opens it up, their energy and how they come across makes you feel, all right, this is a good thing to do. But if they are encouraging you like, hey, first of all, you guys looking for anything to drink? Actually, what do you like? And it's not even, hey, it's not even like getting it. It's like, what do you want to drink? Let me get you something. Sure, well, if you're offering, yeah, I still got to pay for it, but you want to entice it. But the best thing someone can do is when you make a selection, that's a great choice. And that's why we do the exact same thing in our process.
We were out for dinner with Mariel's old friends. She hadn't seen this dude. They played volleyball together 20 years ago. So one of those like awkward kind of like, okay, we're going to go for dinner with people we don't know. But what was interesting is we made equal friends with the server at the time. And I was paying attention to my tip at the end, which I did give her the 25, which was the biggest percentage that they just naturally give you a selection, an option for. And I remember at the time, because we all have this, every time we look at, is it 18, 20, 25? Right? Is it 10, 15, 20, whatever the tip machine says, you're choosing an option and you're quickly reflecting on that experience. And because this girl actually knew Mariel's dad was a high school teacher at the high school we went to, she's like, oh, Mr. Andrew, that dude's the best, man. That guy's a G. What an awesome guy. And she just like laid it on thick. She loved him. And I realized that was part of my tip. Just the relation piece. Just like, I feel like I made a friend here. You get more.
Yeah, going the extra mile. Like, if someone were to be familiar with the menu, instead of saying, like, let's say, oh, you have an allergy. And instead of going, oh, I'm going to have to ask the chef and you have to go back. But actually, I know a lot about that. Believe it or not, I have a friend who has that same concern. And this is what they found was one of the best things on the menu. I personally would endorse it. Oh. Now I'm not worried about them glutening the food. I'm like, all right, great. You want this? You said it's a good idea. Thank you for recognizing. I'll be happy to help. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Nailed it. Number 4, guys, that was number 4, failure to focus on the right things while you're there. We all know the electrical. Yes, of course, you have to scope that out. But do you know your customer? You get to know them enough that you can frame your options, that menu for them. Like Joe just said, here's some things. Because you're gluten intolerant, here's the menu I made for you. Here's the menu I would focus on. That's so important. So important. Number 5, now we're after the call. And this one's huge. Failure to follow up. Honestly, we could have made this list 7 because I'm realizing in saying this, can I tuck a bonus one in here? I know we don't have infinite time.
Sure.
Can we just say like failure to do a good work order process and then have your installers come and bomb this too? That should have been on this list.
That for sure, because there's nothing worse. Like truly, there is nothing worse than you buying from a salesperson and connecting with this person and liking this guy. And now you're going to invite him to the barbecue and everything's all good. And then suddenly the tech shows up and they do not look like this guy. It looks like all different kind of person. And then like, yeah, where's the panel? I don't really know where we're going here. It's like, Joe didn't tell you? Nah, he just said I got to change this thing. He said he'd find the panel somewhere in the basement.
Totally. Let's even draw this out a bit in your mind. So like, okay, terrible work order process, not enough photos, not enough details, don't have the who, what, and the why, right? And so as a result, like Joe's saying, they don't know where shit is. They don't even know the full scope. They don't know who asked for what. They're asking the wrong person weird questions. And then what happens following this? Callbacks. Very easily seen how this erodes your profitability and just destroys customer relationships. Nobody wants a callback.
There's one more thing on that. And I personally had to experience it. If you don't know the who, what, and the why, when the homeowner asks you, because you're the tech, they're the installer, they'll trust you more than anyone because you have no reason to sell them anything. They're going to go, hey, Joe, was this really necessary? If they don't know why you offered it, like literally what happened to me was the homeowner goes, do we really need to change all these things? He goes, probably not. I think I could have just changed a dimmer and been fine with it. But, Joe put it on the work order as soon as we had to get it done. And ended up being a huge blowout and a refund situation. They hated us. Terrible review. Because the installer couldn't say, you know what it was? The reason was your son's autistic and sensitive to these flickering lights. So we could have just changed a dimmer, but I wanted to be sure it was done. And that's why he changed all of them. That way he'd be flicker free. That would have changed the whole game.
Massive. Yeah. So that's a new 5 then. Failure to pass off, failure to work order process, failure to process what just sold so that your team can know how to serve the customer at the highest level. But also we could tuck in the installer upgrade on that same one because that work order process helps them identify also where they held back on their investment a bit, some areas of opportunity, maybe during the climax of an installation. So that installer upgrade is massive, but if you don't have this process in place, who knows what you could be missing? It's a shit ton.
It's like part 2 episode, man. Like this sounds great. Like we could do a whole separate topic.
Yeah. So that was 5. 5, we just upgraded it. That failure to process this sale properly, have a work order process that serves you. So that moves 6 to failure to follow up. Now, this is massive. This is massive. Unsold follow up. A lot of us, if you're listening to us, you probably do 2 call closes on your opportunities. Even if not, if you're just dishing an email, then you have that awkward conversation inside your head at night. Oh, should I reach out to them again? Should I text them again? Either it's you or it's your team. But the unsold follow-up is a massive piece of this. I don't know how you feel about this entirely, Joe. A refreshed view here tonight, but like I look at this like a battlefield.
Okay.
Someone has let us know that they're in pain out there. They're out there. They need help. And it's our duty to help them. And we need to either get them to say, yes, I'm in and I want this. Yes, I want this, but I can't right now for XYZ reason. And I want it at this time so that we know when to come back and approach it again. Yes, I got someone else, or no, I'm not interested in working with you. Like if I don't have that clarity, that clearer future, then I'm a mess inside.
Yeah.
And the longer that list grows, the bigger that mess becomes. Do you know what I mean?
I like the battlefield analogy because what came to my mind was a shooting technique called fire, aim, fire, where what you do is you may not have the means of placing the accurate round, but you got to do the quick draw. You see where it lands, you re-aim, and then you fire. So what I'm hearing in this is, you know what? We tried hitting the target and we didn't. It didn't go through for whatever reason, didn't penetrate. So what we did was we called them back, and now this is the re-aim. I'm trying to refocus on what we actually missed. Why did we miss? What happened? What went wrong? And now that we know what went wrong, we're going to refire. Either that we're going to try to re-engage this client, or we're going to change our process, say, guys, this part of the process is done, or this needs to be done better because we're losing clients from this point.
Yeah. Most guys run their business like there's no money in that, or like there's no value in that. And both are just not true. Think about the value even of someone telling you they went with someone else and then telling you why, and you having a minute to go into detail on why that was. Think about the value of following up and them saying, hey, I'm really glad you followed up, man. I haven't had time for this, but clearly I need your help. Well, let's move forward. Which, whether you doubt that or not, listening to this, it happens. We've got these recorded testimonies and wins in our vault that are overflowing with guys that see wins all throughout these call stalls. And those that consistently address this list do not question it. They do the follow-up. They make sure they know what outcome are we going to achieve with this client. Are they with someone else? Are they still needing this? Do they have intent to move forward, and when? Or is there questions I need to answer still? Are there problems, objections I need to solve? Where is that clearer future? Anything else to add to this one, Joe?
I mean, in the time we have, it seems like there's so much we can dive into, because I'd say even in the follow-up, it shows commitment. Because imagine this, if you're a buyer, but you try building a relationship with this person and we really connected, we really engaged and we're emotion there, but I didn't buy, and you never call me back and you never check back in, I'm like, that was a salesperson and I just dodged a bullet. But if that person called back and was like, now granted, I'm never going to say I'm checking in. I'm never going to say I'm following up, because that implies sales angle. But if it's, I just want to make sure that everything is okay. Or even if you didn't go with us, that you got that problem taken care of, because that's really what I'm concerned about at the end of the day. How did it go? Is everything all right? Were you able to get that taken care of? Now I know this person, even though I didn't buy, shows that they care. And that is going to give me a huge guilt trip, personally, if I didn't buy from this guy and he still cares about me. And if I haven't made that purchase already, and now I know, like, this guy does care, and therefore maybe I should reconsider him compared to the 3 guys who emailed me a quote and never even did anything about it.
Yep. So number 6, guys, there it is. Failure to follow up. That's important. We literally have about 90 seconds here. So we're going to drop 7 like it's hot, and we're going to get the F out of here. But I want to start this one with a story. We had Guillermo Castillo on the podcast. And if you guys remember this last one, we came up with, or what he shared was what we call the second insight, which meant that he told us at that time his average ticket for the first transaction with a customer was just over $2,000 at that time. And they had a slow leads year. So every lead needed to be made the most of. But they hired a data company to come in, and that data company found that their second transaction average lifetime value. So it went from 2,000 average ticket to 3x, over $6,000 from repeat customers. And if your process isn't in place to get clients to repeat, then you might have a problem with fail number 7, which is failure to happy call, and make sure you actually accomplish the thing you set out to accomplish. Joe, what are your thoughts on this one?
You know, there's one last thing that may not have been discussed, and that is the result of not getting the review and ensuring they're at least neutral or happy. And here's what I mean by that. Yes, more reviews equals more people will call you. So there's a reason you'd want to get it. But ensuring they're satisfied is more important. Because let's say they're not satisfied. The majority don't flame you online. They're not going to go for your throat 1-star you. What they're going to do is even worse. They're going to say, no, it's all right. No, I just went with someone else. But really, every time someone else asks for an electrical problem, they're going to mention you that you didn't do the job. Or if you ever get brought up in conversation, they're going to tell how you didn't satisfy them. That's the worst thing can happen, because you can't fix that because you don't know what's happening.
Reminds me of that sad country song, When You Say Nothing at All. That's it for this week, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Find the link for the Brighter Day call process below, and we're going to see you next week with more great podcasts.
Be blessed, friends. See you soon.